Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch, your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network. Welcome back to another installment of Bodybuilding Daily, where we talk about all things hot topic and trending in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. And we have 4 interesting topics to talk about today, so I hope you do enjoy today's schedule, today's content, the agenda, if you will. And let's go ahead and start off with Regan Grimes. Clearly, if you don't know, if you lived under a rock, he did win the Europa Pro just this weekend, men's open bodybuilding division, qualifying him for the 2023 Mr. Olympia as it returns to Orlando in November. I will be there, so look for me in my big purple backpack. But another conversation outside of him winning was, did he deserve the win? And I know this is a huge hot topic on shameless plug, Hot Topic, cool t-shirts, anime shirts, if you like that sort of thing. But the hot topic here is, did he bring enough in the terms of conditioning and a complete package to win? Especially when you look at the competition. You know, he had, I'm having an absolute brain fart. Nathan Asha. He competed against Nathan Asha. Nathan beat him the week prior at the Flex Weekend Pro, aka the Italy Pro. And we're going to look through some side-by-side comparisons to really get a good grasp on whether or not the comparisons were close. You know, did he come in improved? What did he bring enough conditioning like we talked about? That's what I want to get here. This is what I want to get at. And when I look at Regan Grimes, I thought he looked good at the Europa Pro. But I still think that there's just a little bit, maybe 5, maybe 8% of conditioning that he can improve on to really bring that nice, sharp, crisp, complete physique that we want him to bring. Now, he's done it before. We saw it 2 years ago at the Legion Sport Festival. He brought some of the best conditioning he's ever brought since his move from the classic physique division, where he had to bring crazy conditioning because he had to drop all that weight to meet the height and weight caps. So we know that he has the mental fortitude. He has the capacity to bring that level of grainy, dry, rock hard conditioning. It just seems that there's this narrative that he doesn't need to do it. And clearly, by the results of this show, the judges, or at least the European judges, are saying that this is true and he doesn't need to bring that level of conditioning to win shows. So let's go ahead and look at some side-by-sides from the Flex Weekend versus the Europa Pro. Front double bicep, I would say the huge difference here is he's trying to accentuate a vacuum hold in that front double compared to the Flex Weekend. He's doing a more traditional abs crunched shot. Now, I will say that when you look at his pectorals with the ab crunch, the pecs seem to really wash out into the obliques, the serratus interiors. You know, the physique really starts to get kind of washy, if you can kind of see what I'm saying here. Also, his tan was not very good if you're looking at it. Now, switching over to the Europa Pro, you can see with this accentuated vacuum hold that he's trying to do, it does accentuate the midsection. It really brings those obliques in to bring a nice taper, moving into the serratus interiors, the lats, all the way up into the pecs. It looks like a little bit more of a fuller physique, and it does add some width and some girth to him that I think it definitely helps him, clearly, because he won the show. Looking at the back shots just briefly, I do appreciate you guys staying tuned and watching this content. I would say that he does look a tad bit fuller in this European show compared to the Italy show, and that's only a week difference. But I will say that his conditioning does seem to lack in the hamstring department. Not a lot of the piano wires on the right leg are really not as good as the one on the left. It could be potentially he's spiking the leg differently. Also, I'd say in the lower back, we're not seeing a lot of that skin folding we saw during the posing routines. So it seems that was a posing issue. And lastly, I will say that his biceps from the back do look much better on stage than they did in the gym. You know, I did talk about that last week about a possible bicep tear issue going on with his biceps. Clearly, from these photos, there's no injury to be seen. Not the best bicep peaks from the flex weekend, but the Europa Pro, it looks like he's doing a lot more rotating, a lot more driving the elbows. If you guys do any posing, you know what I mean. You know what I'm trying to get at. So I was very impressed with how he looked, the evolution. I mean, the dude's an absolute freak. He's a giant. I think he could be the next coming of Jay Cutler if he continues to improve upon the conditioning, but that's where he's really getting stuck right now, is the conditioning. Do I see him in the top 16? No. I think that the competition at the Olympia is going to be just a little bit too deep for the guy. And I'm not a hater. I mean, I literally have an autograph photo from him. I talked with him at the LA Fit Expo. Awesome dude, and I'm a fan first. But we have to be transparent. We have to be fair as commentators and as fans. So those are my thoughts on Regan Grimes. Quickly moving into Nathan Asha. I thought Nathan looked absolutely phenomenal here. The lighting was absolutely superb. The way the European Pro, the Europa Pro team does it, I think it's like Milan, I think is his name. The way they do the blue backdrop, the no LED screens, just a solid canvas, it really gives these athletes the best possible situation to get great photos. The LED screens really wash out the physiques. It makes it look kind of fuzzy and blurry, and I frankly, I can't stand it. It's just really pulls away from their physiques and just destroys those photos. So very happy to see them use the solid backdrops. And yes, Bob, you are wrong on this. So suck it, Bob. Anywho, I think Nathan Asha looks phenomenal here. I do think he slightly was improved in the conditioning department. We will quickly look at the front lat, as in his posing routine, he did not do the traditional front double bicep. And from the flex weekend to the Europa Pro, you can see that there's a little bit of a difference in his posing. Also, I'd say his legs look much cleaner, a lot more crisp in the Europa Pro. You can see a lot of the cross striations and the feathering in those quads. The tear ducts look a little bit more accentuated. And also, you get to really see those deep cuts all the way into the posing trunks, which, I'm a huge fan for that. I love seeing that level of detail in a guy's physique. And frankly, I usually only see this in the women's divisions, and the 212 division is typically where we get to see this level of conditioning. I'll also say that his midsection is got to be one of the best midsections in the pro league. But to be honest, I think that the lat taper is almost too crazy, where it almost pulls away from the physique, that the lats are just not as deep and not as full and thick as they could be. Moving into the front shot, moving into the back shots, I would say they're very comparable. I think that the Europa Pro is better. The lighting is just more, it's just much, much better. The lighting, the backdrops, I think maybe even the tan could have been improved slightly. So overall, the Europa Pro was just a better shot for Nathan Asha. But there are some weird dots on his lower back. I saw some Instagram people talking about. If you guys know anything about those weird, kind of looks like SEO spots or injection spots, definitely let me know. But it is interesting that it's on both sides of his back in the lower traps. So let me know your thoughts on that. Moving into some non-Europa Pro content, I do thank you for staying with me for the whole video. Brandon Curry, or at least his coach, Abdullah, has shared some physique updates 8 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. And I'll go ahead and start off with this, ladies and gentlemen. This probably isn't recent. This is something that their team has been doing for the better part of a decade, is posting old photos, misleading, deceptive photos. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I don't like to be manipulated. So I do not put a lot of stock into these photos, but I don't want to be a little too critical with Brandon Curry. I know I was in the last video. So I did put a little collage together for Brandon Curry somewhere in here, showing his transformation from all the way on the right. We have July 14th, 2020, which was 8 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. And we have August 18th of 2021, unsure of the number of weeks or days out from a show there, and September 12th, just a week ago, 8 weeks out from the current Mr. Olympia, September 12th, 2023. And the conversation here was, I saw some other journalists commenting saying that his legs have improved. And I can frankly say that it could be the posing, it could be the angle, but I honestly can say that the legs do look slightly improved from 2020 to 2023. Now, I'm not going to say they're much improved. I would say that his midsection has improved, and not in a good way. The midsection has definitely grown. Also, to be fair, the 2020 shot is a front relaxed, where his obliques are going to be a little bit more controlled compared to the current, or quote-unquote current physique update we got from him 8 weeks out, doing a traditional one-hand clasped crab shot, where the stomach is more crunched down, and it does allow the obliques to spill out a little bit over the posing trunks or underwear in this situation. So, yes, I think his legs have improved, and also everything else has improved. And I think for someone who is a Mr. Olympia champion, they should have improved a little bit in 3 years. So I'll give it to him. I think he's definitely improved. And last but certainly not least, best of luck to Brandon Curry. Hadi Choopan has shared physique updates around a week ago, showing a posing routine, more SEO Synthol conversations going on here. The shoulders have always looked a little jimmied. I think a lot of people agree that they do look a little questionable, a little suspect. But now people are saying that the lats are looking a little questionable and a little pointy. And I honestly have never seen somebody's lats develop like that, where they're that pointy. So it's definitely a possibility that there is some SEO going on here. I do not know. I think it does look questionable, and I don't think it's outside of the possibility for him to do whatever he needs to do, or whatever he thinks he needs to do, to retain his Mr. Olympia title that he won last year. So I think that it's definitely a possibility. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. The channel has blown up in the last couple weeks. We just hit 8,000 subscribers. So if you can help us reach 10,000 subscribers by November, by the time we get to the Mr. Olympia, I really would appreciate it. But as always, I'm your host, Josh Sanch. Thanks for watching the Bodybuilding News Network, and I'll see you in the next one.